My best friend sabotaged my wedding and acted like nothing happened. I never thought something like this could happen to me. You always hear stories about betrayal and broken trust, but you never really imagine that it could happen to you, especially not from someone you considered family. But that's exactly what happened. It was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, my wedding day. I was buzzing with excitement, and yeah, a little bit of nerves too. But more than anything, I was ready to start this new chapter with the person I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. But then, everything changed. I found out that the one person I trusted more than anyone, the person I thought had my back through it all, was actively trying to ruin everything. My best friend, the one who had been with me through every up and down, the one who'd promised to be by my side no matter what. She was the one behind the sabotage, the one spreading lies, stirring up conflict. And the worst part, she acted like nothing happened. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, still asking myself, why? How could she do that? How could someone I trusted with everything turn around and tear it all down? I was in the middle of my dress fitting, surrounded by my mom and my bridesmaids. I was about to put on the most beautiful wedding dress I'd ever seen. The excitement was building up, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. Then, I get this text. It was from my fiancé, and he was upset. Really upset, apparently. My best friend had been telling people that the wedding was too much, that it was all about me and not enough about my partner. She was telling people that I was making decisions without consulting him, spreading rumors about our plans, and even dropping hints about our relationship being rocky. I couldn't believe it. It felt like someone punched me in the gut. I didn't know what to do. How could she, my best friend, the person who I thought would support me through everything, be the one to cause all this chaos? At first, I couldn't even process it. I thought it was some kind of joke, or maybe a misunderstanding. I kept thinking, no way, she wouldn't do that. But then I realized she had. The truth hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt this wave of anger and confusion all at once. My best friend of all people was trying to destroy my happiness. I was crushed. I couldn't understand why she would do this to me. We had been through everything together. When my world fell apart, she was the one I called. She was supposed to be the one person who would never let me down. But here I was, staring at my phone, feeling like my whole life had just come undone. The next few hours were a blur. I was trying to keep it together for everyone around me, but inside, I was falling apart. All I could think was, how could someone who claimed to love me, who'd been my rock, do something like this? The questions kept swirling. Was she jealous? Was it revenge? Did she feel like she was losing me? I couldn't understand her motives. I tried to talk to her, but she brushed me off like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't just destroyed everything I'd worked for. She acted like I was overreacting. She made me feel crazy for even bringing it up. And that was the worst part, she didn't even acknowledge the hurt she caused. I kept replaying everything in my mind. All the times she was there for me. All the times I thought I could trust her. And now it all felt like a lie. I couldn't stop thinking, was it always like this and I didn't see it? How long has this been going on? I was torn between wanting to protect my wedding, my special day, and confronting her about the betrayal. I wanted answers. I needed to hear her admit what she'd done, to explain why she would betray me like this. But I didn't want to cause drama. I didn't want to ruin everything even more. But how could I just let it go? How could I ignore the fact that the person who was supposed to be by my side had turned against me? I didn't want to believe it, but at the same time, I couldn't keep pretending like nothing had happened. The hurt, the betrayal, it was too much to ignore. Every part of me was screaming for justice, for her to apologize and fix things. But at the same time, I wasn't sure if I even wanted to fix things. Could I ever trust her again? Should I? And then it happened. I found the proof. It wasn't just rumors anymore. I found messages, texts where she was telling people everything about how I was too controlling with the wedding, how I was overbearing with the plans, and how she thought I was making a huge mistake marrying the man I loved. It was like the floor dropped from beneath me. My world, the one that felt solid and secure, shattered. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was real. She had actively worked against me, undermining my relationship, my happiness, all for reasons I still couldn't understand. My mind was racing. I kept thinking, how could I have been so blind? How could I not have seen the signs? I wanted to confront her, to demand answers, but I didn't even know where to start. The pain of it all was too overwhelming. This is just the beginning of a painful journey, one where trust was broken, and a friendship that once meant everything to me now felt like a lie. But I didn't know how deep the pain would go, or how far it would take me before I finally understood the lessons it would teach me. I wish I could go back to the days when I didn't know the truth, when everything felt safe and my friendships weren't in question. Before the lies, before everything came crashing down, I had this best friend, someone I thought I could count on for the rest of my life. We'd been through so much together. She knew all my deepest secrets, my fears, my hopes. I trusted her with everything, or at least I thought I did. It feels strange now to even think about how I used to look at her. She was my person. We'd been best friends since high school, always inseparable, through every heartbreak and triumph. When things went wrong in my life, she was the first person I'd call. We laughed until we cried. We comforted each other through every disappointment, and we shared everything. There were no secrets, no pretenses. It felt like she had my back always. I didn't know then that this person, who I thought was the definition of loyalty, was hiding something that would tear my world apart. I had always seen her as the one constant in my life. When my family life was a mess, when I felt alone, she was there, pulling me out of the darkness. I relied on her for so much. She knew me better than anyone, sometimes even better than I knew myself. She was the one who saw me through my toughest days, and I thought she was the one who'd be by my side forever. She promised she'd always be there, just like I promised her. We even made plans for the future, shared dreams about how we'd grow old and still be friends, even as life changed around us. I believed those promises. I was naive, I guess, to think that everything would stay the same, that nothing could ever come between us. But that was before the betrayal, before everything came crashing down. Looking back, I can see it now, how the small cracks started showing. I had brushed them off at the time because I didn't want to see them. I wanted to believe in the friendship I'd built, but there were moments when something felt off. I remember how she'd make snide remarks about my fiancé, about how he was too perfect for me, or how we were moving too fast. She would downplay everything I was excited about, making it seem like I was overreacting. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just her being protective, or maybe just jealous. But now, I can't ignore those signs. I can't ignore how she slowly started pulling away from me when I got engaged, how she would go silent at times when I needed her the most, how she'd make little comments about how she wasn't feeling included. I didn't know it then, but those were the first whispers of the betrayal that would come later. There were things we never talked about. We both had our insecurities, things we never voiced. There was tension, little things we never addressed. But I thought it was normal. Friendship wasn't always perfect, right? We'd always been there for each other, so I thought everything would smooth itself out. But I never asked how she was really feeling, and she never told me. Maybe if I had, things would have been different. I didn't know how she felt about my upcoming wedding. Maybe she was feeling left out, or maybe she was scared of losing me. But I didn't give her the space to talk about it. I was too wrapped up in my own excitement, too focused on the future I was building with my fiancé to notice the cracks in our friendship. And now, those unspoken words are all I can think about. Once I knew the truth, everything felt like it was unraveling. It wasn't just one moment, it was the slow, painful realization that my best friend had been tearing apart my life, bit by bit. It wasn't an instant betrayal. It had been happening for a while, and I hadn't seen it. At first, I thought it was just a few misunderstandings, but the more I thought about it, the more the pieces started fitting together. The passive-aggressive comments, the way she'd always find something wrong with every wedding plan, the way she'd act like she was just looking out for me when in reality, she was making things worse. She would subtly question my choices, making me feel like I was wrong for wanting the wedding to be exactly what I wanted. It wasn't just about the dress, or the flowers, or the venue, it was about everything. And I was too blind to see it. It wasn't until after the discovery that I realized how deep the manipulation had gone. I felt the gap growing between us. But I ignored it. I told myself I was just stressed out from the wedding preparations, that it was normal for people to feel distant during big life changes. But the truth was, something was changing in her, and I felt it. It was hard to pinpoint. But I felt myself pulling away too. I didn't want to confront her about the growing tension because I was scared of what it would mean. But now, I can't deny that we were both growing further apart. We weren't the friends we used to be, and I didn't know how to fix it. The truth started to sink in, and everything I thought I knew about our friendship began to unravel. I didn't know who to trust anymore. How could I trust someone who'd been lying to me for so long? How could I still love and rely on someone who had hurt me so deeply? I tried to talk to her about the things I'd uncovered, but every time I brought it up, she made me feel like I was crazy, like I was imagining things. She told me I was just being paranoid, that I should relax, enjoy the wedding, and stop stressing. But the more I heard her talk, the more I realized how much she had been controlling the narrative, twisting everything to make me feel like I was the one at fault. The trust that had once been the foundation of our relationship started to slip away. I couldn't rely on her anymore. I couldn't trust her with my feelings, with my future, and it hurt more than I can describe. I found out she'd been telling other people, my family, my bridesmaids, even some of my fiance's friends, lies about me and my wedding. She was planting seeds of doubt, trying to make everyone question my decisions. And it worked. The people I thought I could count on were starting to pull away, just like she had planned. And the worst part, she didn't even feel sorry. She didn't apologize. She acted like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just tried to destroy the happiest moment of my life. There were times when I'd confront her, trying to understand why she was doing this. And every time, she'd turn it around on me. She'd make me feel guilty for even bringing it up, for questioning her. She'd say things like, "I'm just looking out for you," or "You've changed since you got engaged." It was like she was trying to make me doubt myself, make me feel like I was the one at fault. It wasn't just betrayal anymore, it was emotional manipulation, and I was falling for it. Eventually, the distance between us became too much to ignore. I could no longer be around her without feeling like I was suffocating. I stopped confiding in her. I stopped asking for her advice. The trust was gone, and so was the connection. It felt like she had slowly but surely pushed me away, and now I was the one who didn't want to be around her anymore. The person I once considered my best friend was now someone I couldn't even look at without feeling disgusted. It reached a point where I couldn't take it anymore. I was standing there, feeling like everything around me was falling apart, and I knew I had to confront her. The lies, the manipulation, the distance, it was all too much to ignore. I couldn't pretend everything was fine anymore. I had to know the truth, even if it meant losing my best friend. I remember the day so clearly. I called her, asked her to meet me. There was no casual way to do this, no easy path to follow. I was angry, I was hurt, and I was done pretending that nothing was wrong. I needed her to face the truth. We sat down. I don't think she expected it. She seemed so calm, almost too calm. But inside, I was shaking. My heart was racing, and every word I said felt like it was cutting me open. I asked her, point blank, "Why? Why have you been doing this?" I told her everything I had uncovered, the lies, the manipulation, everything she had done. And the worst part? She didn't even seem sorry. She didn't even try to deny it. She just sat there, almost coldly, and said, "I was trying to help you." I couldn't believe my ears. She said that she was just looking out for me and that she thought I was making a mistake, that I wasn't seeing things clearly. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw everything in her face and demand answers. But I couldn't. It felt like all the air had been sucked out of my lungs. The person I trusted more than anyone in the world didn't care enough about me to stop her actions. She didn't even care enough to apologize for breaking me. It wasn't just a misunderstanding. It wasn't just a few harmless comments. This was betrayal pure and simple. The truth hit me like a truck. She wasn't just jealous or worried about losing me. No, it was deeper than that. She was afraid. Afraid of losing the part of her life that I had always represented, the one person she thought would never leave. But it wasn't about me anymore. It was about her insecurity, her jealousy. She was so wrapped up in her own fears that she didn't even see the damage she was causing. She never stopped to think about what it would do to me, to my relationship, to my future. And in that moment, something inside me snapped. I realized that no matter how much history we shared, no matter how many memories we had built, I couldn't keep someone in my life who would deliberately try to ruin my happiness. That moment, sitting across from her, was when everything I thought I knew about our friendship collapsed. I looked at her, and it was like I was seeing her for the first time. Not the best friend I thought I knew, but someone who had lied, manipulated, and hurt me more than I ever thought possible. My heart broke, not just because of what she did, but because I realized that I would never be able to trust her again. Trust is something you can't rebuild once it's shattered like that. And it felt like my entire world had been upended. I didn't know who I was anymore, or who she was. The person I had built my life around was gone, and in its place was a stranger. I left that conversation with so many emotions swirling inside me. Anger, disbelief, confusion. I felt like I was walking through a fog. It wasn't just betrayal, it was the betrayal of someone I thought would never do that to me. Someone who I thought would stand by me no matter what. I tried to keep it together. I really did. I had my wedding to think about, my fiancé, my family, all these people depending on me to be strong. But inside, I was falling apart. Every time I looked at the wedding plans, every time I thought about the future, I felt sick. I should have been excited, you know. I should have been looking forward to the happiest day of my life. But instead, I was paralyzed by this feeling of betrayal. It was like this dark cloud hanging over everything. The fallout from all of this was devastating. And it wasn't just about my friendship with her, it spread everywhere. I couldn't trust anyone anymore. Everyone seemed to have their own opinion about what had happened. Some sided with me, others with her. It felt like the entire world had turned upside down. I couldn't escape the feeling of regret. I kept replaying everything in my head, asking myself, should I have seen the signs? Should I have confronted her sooner? But no matter how much I beat myself up over it, I knew the truth. I didn't deserve this. I didn't deserve to be betrayed by someone I thought would always be there. I started to isolate myself. It felt like I couldn't talk to anyone about it. My fiancé tried to comfort me, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. He knew something was wrong, but he didn't understand the depth of the pain. I couldn't explain it to him without it sounding like I was overreacting, like I was crazy. I had to face the consequences. The friendship was over, and honestly, part of me felt relief, but the other part of me felt this deep, aching loss. How could I just walk away from someone who had been such a big part of my life for so long? But as time went on, I realized it wasn't about me walking away. It was about her walking away from me. She had made that choice when she decided to betray me. I was a mess. It wasn't just about the wedding anymore. It was about everything, the trust that was broken, the years of friendship that felt like a lie. I questioned myself, wondering why I had ignored the warning signs. Was I blind? Was I so desperate for a perfect friendship that I couldn't see what was really happening? I had to pick up the pieces. I had to find a way to move forward, to heal, and to figure out how to rebuild my life without her. And the hardest part, accepting that some people aren't meant to be in your life forever. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to cancel plans, to tell my fiancé, to deal with the aftermath of what she had done. But I had to. It wasn't just for me, it was for my future. I couldn't let someone who had hurt me so deeply be part of this new chapter. I had to make peace with the fact that sometimes letting go is the only way forward. I tried to move on. I tried to focus on my wedding and the people who truly loved and supported me. But there were days when I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. And there were days when I didn't know if I could ever forgive her. I knew I had to find closure, but that wasn't going to happen overnight. Over time, I started to accept the truth. Some friendships are meant to last. and some aren't. Some people come into your life for a season, and when that season ends, you have to let them go. And as much as it hurt, I had to let go of her. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the most freeing. I was finally able to move forward, knowing that the person who had once meant so much to me was no longer a part of my story. This whole experience taught me more than I ever thought I'd learn. It taught me about trust, about the importance of self-worth, and about the boundaries I need to set in my relationships. I realized that I don't have to let people walk all over me, even if they were once the closest people in my life. Looking back, I can honestly say that this experience, as painful as it was, helped me grow. It taught me to trust my instincts, to value myself more, and to recognize when it's time to walk away. Not every relationship is meant to last forever, and sometimes betrayal can be the wake-up call you need to find your strength. If any part of my story resonated with you, or if you've gone through something similar, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's support each other. Don't forget to subscribe for more real, raw stories and personal reflections.